breaking reports. I have a few things to report on, and then take questions from you. And in addition to those the speakers that we have already confirmed, we will bring in other speakers here, those of you who want to speak. So through the chat section, you will be actively in touch with Lucas as well. And let me see, where is Lucas? Okay, host. All right. Okay. And we are going to begin, but I want to make sure I have those people who wanted to join. They are here with me, and I'm looking at my screen here. Okay, is my audio good? Let me test again. Someone just sent me a message about audio. Can you hear me again? Give me a thumb up or yes. Okay. All right, Patrick, people can hear me, and I can't see my my co-host Lucas. Okay. Hold on. Let me send a quick. Okay. All right. All right, so let's see here. Since I have this first 5-10 minutes here with some quick background and some breaking reports, those of you who have been following me through my Patreon site, patreon.com/SibelAdmins, and I have been tweeting those on X as well. I know I'm shadow banned big time, big time. Also by Google. We will get into that maybe at the end when we have more time. But I have been reporting nonstop on Turkey, Iran, Turkish government, Trump, Turkey, Israel, for nonstop since about mid-November 2025. Okay, if you go to my site at or even look at my history on X, you will see at least 2 or 3 dozens of reports. Half of those have been breaking reports. And so with that said, I am going to go ahead and start here. And okay, he's joining us shortly. Okay. All right. So about 4 or 5 weeks ago, people, I started breaking on Turkey and Iran, okay? Back to back, all right? And one report after another exposing Turkey's covert operations against Iran with Israel per Trump and Israel's order, okay? And this was before the second war kicked in. And I have been breaking these reports and being the specifics. For example, one report I posted about 2 weeks ago had to do with the radar, Israeli radars on Turkish soil, okay? Israel had one radar, intelligence military radar, in Turkey, in the Turkish-Iran border, near that area, but that they added 2 more, okay? And this is per permission by the government of Turkey. And these radars, they transmit directly to Israelis, right? Israeli military intelligence bypassing Turkish government, okay? So that has been operating for weeks. I broke that story. And after that, 2 days ago, let's go to the most recent one so I can start from there. I'm gonna hold on a second. Let me see if I have, here we go. And I have Lucas here joining so that he will help me with this live space, because it's going to get a bit chaotic in a good way, not in a bad way. And it's going to be, in a good way, chaotic. We're going to have questions. We're going to get it really, really lively. And Ali Syed is here. He's going to bring perspective from Pakistan. So that's good. And let me ask Lucas here, do you see your mic? And are you able to see all your host functions, co-host functions? Give me a thumb up there so I know that you can have access. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, so Lucas will look at the request for speakers and also questions. Now, let's go to the latest, so that will lead us to some of the breaking reports. Nobody has been reporting on this. And by the way, people, if you have noticed, with all these analysts and talking heads 24/7 practically covering Iran because Iran is the hottest topics, nobody has really delved into this issue of Turkey, the most important, the biggest, and the supposed greatest base, okay? And nobody has forget about touching upon these reports that we have put out, and they have been confirmed, some of them 2 days later, some of them being reported 4 days later. We have been putting those stuff out. And that's very interesting because everybody's talking about how many anti-missiles we have left, how many missiles we have left, how many Iran has, and the island of Khark, yes, Strait of Hormuz. But if you paid attention, if you have been paying attention, everybody's singing the same tune. I'm not saying they are putting false stuff, they're correct stuff, but it's everybody, every single analyst. It's all on the Strait of Hormuz, of course, strategically of most importance there, but nobody has been, for example, asking, saying, well, look at Trump basically biting Spain's prime minister's head off, saying, how dare you not giving your airbase to us? But Trump is not mentioning Turkey. Trump has not said even once the word Turkey or Turkey. And I'm going to explain that to you, okay? That's going to be explained. But anybody here, if in the past 2 weeks you have heard Trump saying the word Turkey, Turkey, please give me a sign, send me an emoji. If anybody, because you haven't, and I will tell you, this is on purpose. This tells you how important and covert and secret this is, because you don't want to play your card, first of all, against your the country you're attacking, Iran. But Iran is not stupid. Iran has more intelligence, right, that they can get from Turkey, and they are getting, like on Turkish operations and activities, than even the United States. Believe me, they do, okay? No mention. So please remind me to explain why that is after I go through these. Fidan boarded his plane, his airplane, for Saudi Arabia, right? This would be 8-10 hours before he boarded his plane. I had a breaking news that I published, and then I put it on the announcement on X, right? And I said, this meeting in Saudi Arabia, there is a meeting, and it was like with like a 2 hours, 3 hours notice to these leaders, right? The heads of the Arab GCC Gulf Coast countries, and of course UAE, being hosted by Saudi Arabia, and the call invitation that is urgent and it has to happen. These things for dignitaries, etc., people, these things are scheduled always at least a week or so in advance. But this was this urgent meeting, and they had to go there that evening, have dinner, and a very, very private meeting. And this is GCC and the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey and Azerbaijan, okay? You're looking at all the Israeli stooges, every single one of them, okay? So before he boarded, even the news is not public. I said there is going to be this meeting in Saudi Arabia, but it's not Saudi Arabia that is calling for this meeting, right? They are not the ones. It's actually issued by Israelis, per Israelis, to have a meeting in Saudi Arabia, this highly secretive dinner and backdoor meetings with 2 Israeli officials and 1 US official. Okay, so I broke the news. And I also said, because per my previous coverage, that they are going to be ordered by Israel and the US to go totally like overt with a lot of things before, some of it being covert. They have been talking both sides. They are trying to find diplomatic solutions. And on one hand, they say, oh my goodness, we don't want this stuff between our 2 Muslim countries, all the bullshit stuff, right? While they are providing all sorts of supports, all sorts of military, logistic, all sorts of supports to Israel and to the United States, and that Turkey included in this. So I broke this news, and of course I came under attack. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, this meeting is that they're gonna go over, watch this, because after this meeting, you're gonna see what I'm reporting here being confirmed. And guess what happened, people? Guess what happened, people? The next morning, every single country, including Turkey, they came out and unanimously, basically with the same script that was handed to all of them by Israelis, right? During the dinner meeting the previous night, they said they strongly condemn Iran and that Iran presents threat to humanity. And Iran is presenting threat to all the neighboring Muslim countries, and that Iran is reckless. Okay? That's right. That's right. So the dinner finished with Saudi Arabia time around 10:30, 11 p.m. By 9 a.m. the next morning, every single country issued this, including Turkey. Okay? And no media was present for this meeting. No media whatsoever. This was a highly secretive meeting because, I mean, come on. How can they let the media in there? How can they do that? They are sitting there, right? These slaves, right? These Sionims, these slaves, they are sitting there, and you have 2 Israelis, right, in the palace, 1 US official dictating, saying, this is what you're going to do, you dogs. Guess what? And they have to do it because every single one of them, first of all, they have been installed and they have been governed by Israel and the US. Second of all, every single one of those government heads there, they're not even government, kingdoms, all of them, they have thick blackmailable stuff, including Epstein and stuff, right? In the hands of the US government, and most importantly, in the hands of Israel. So of course they're going to do as they are told. Of course. And they did. I tell you what, it was such a shock. Not for me, not for me. It came as such a major shock for the Turkish people in Turkey. Because wasn't this Turkey saying, we will never be involved, really? We want to be the ones who would have, and we actually, just want to make sure that there is peace and all the stuff. And then, because if you were to poll, right, the temperature, the climate, the opinion, the feelings of the Turkish people, you know what you will see? The poll results. I'm not talking about the ones US media puts for the Americans here. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, okay? I'm talking about the real poll. You will see that 97% of Turkish people, 97 plus percent of people in Turkey, they are absolutely against this war on Iran. They want their governments to support Iran. Forget about being against the war being waged upon Iran. And every single one of these 97% loathes genocidal, satanic, Zionist Israel. Every single one of them. I mean, you can't be a human, forget about being a Muslim, and not hate them, okay? So this first came as a slap. And he put it out there. But here comes some positive thing, okay? It's not all negative because we all know about how negative everything is. Turkish people, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. They screamed. They took on every single social media channels, okay? And they started screaming, united, saying, shame on you, Foreign Minister Fidan. You are an Israeli stooge. You are a slave. You don't represent Turkey because 97% of people in Turkey, they don't want this. The pressure, and I did my share, right? The pressure built up. I'm talking about such pressure cooker. I'm talking about massive steam and pressure coming. And guess what happened? Guess what happened? It basically frightened the current government, AKP, President Erdogan and Fidan. Fidan ended up scrambling, coming out. And in Turkey, we have this thing saying, you basically lick back your own spit, right? He came, and supposedly this is how the media is putting out there, even the Western media, saying, he said, oh, for the first time, 19 days since this massacre, one-sided assault started on Iran, forcing Iran to engage in self-defense, 19 days later, Foreign Minister Fidan says, we believe Israel here is the aggressor and is the perpetrator. It caused it. 19 days. Police, come on. Do you know how many days it took for the president of Turkey to actually mention the massacre of the school bombing in Iran? 160 plus little girls being basically burned and chopped into pieces with these bombs by the US planes? 15 days. This president, this stooge, this is Israeli stooge, it took him 15 days to actually come and say, oh, condolences, this was a horrible thing. That's what this, he didn't even name Israel or US when he said it was a horrible thing. So that should tell you where Turkey is, okay? All right, okay. All right, so now with that, and with the fact that Turkish people's will, right, got these people, and I'm not done. This is gonna have a lot on them, but we're gonna bring in some speakers, and I will tell you about the format. Then I'm gonna pass it to Lucas to explain how we're gonna go from that point forward. Now, I have 3 breaking reports for you, okay? I had to put a little bit of a filler out there because of its urgency, okay? Right now, as you know, and as the United States Hexet declared, starting like tonight, is going to be really hard pounding of Iran. They're gonna increase, and they're gonna, I don't know. I mean, it was a massacre, and now they're gonna turn the massacre to like, I guess, a genocide. That's what he means. So, where are currently the most active bases, right, for these coming assaults? That is like they're on the way. They're there. They're active. They have been active. Number 1, Romania, US base in Romania. Number 2, Turkey. Number 3 is Azerbaijan, okay? Well, you know, Azerbaijan sits there across from Iran on Caspian Sea. We'll just look at the map, people. Bring your maps out. Look at where Turkey-Iran borders, which is a pretty chunky, wide borders, right? And then Romania is there, and Romania is not too far, okay? It's on Black Sea there, right there, north of Turkey. You can see that. So that's one. Again, Turkey has been denying. Turkish government has been denying. You know why? Because Turkish government is afraid of its people. Because they know. You know why they are doing it? I will tell you why they're doing it. I'm going to tell you, explain it later. It's all about blackmail. okay? But on the other hand, I mean, they are being so stupid because they think that the protection from blackmail is going to last forever. No, it's not. Eventually, soon after this part is over, they're going to be fed to the wolves, right? Actually, not the wolves. They're going to be fed to the Turkish people, okay? They're going to be taken out. So basically, they're procrastinating. They have a chance to switch and become really representative of Turkey, the Muslim country of Turkey. And now that it matters, right? It's like a repent, it's like a repenting. But by not doing it, by doing this covert stuff, right? By being so scared slaves, they are going to have a much worse end. And their end is coming. It's a tick-tock. One way or another, their end is coming. Okay? At least maybe, relatively speaking, there will be slightly less indignified, right? Yeah, Turkey is actively, it's underlined, okay? Every single report I have put out there, they are for multiple sources coming from Turkish sources. I'm talking about general level in military. Turkish military is divided just like the ones here in the United States. We have some solid, really patriotic Turkish military generals, colonels, who don't want Turkey be sacrificed a lamb and used and abused and destroyed, because at the end of it is the destruction for Turkey. And these generals, these military people, they don't want it. Then, of course, there's a small segment, the ass kissers, the bootlickers, who are saying, well, whatever you say, sir, whatever you say, sir, all right? Okay, now, and I told you about the radars, right? On Turkish soil. Israel's, the genocidal, satanic, Epstein Israel in Turkey. Can you imagine? I mean, Turkey has military might. I mean, Turkey has a strong, I would say the strongest out there. Period. Can you imagine if Turkey would be Turkish government, because Turkish people, they are all on the correct side, on the right side. The Turkish government, can you imagine the respect? This guy wanted to be the Khalifa of the Muslim world, Erdogan, right? Well, here was his chance. Okay, but they have so much to blackmail him on. It's okay, Erdogan, it's okay, those files coming out. Believe me, I promise you, Turkish people would forgive you for those other sins that we'll talk later. They will forgive you if you do the right thing now, when it matters, when it saves lives, okay? When it would save lives, Turkish people would forgive you. I have been trying so hard, even behind the scenes, trying to say, you are failing. You have this one opportunity, okay, to do something that would make up for the corruption and the shits you've been engaged, that you've been caught on. It will be forgiven, Erdogan. Erdogan, it will be forgiven. Do the right thing. They will be all backing you. There will be 2+ billion Muslim world, okay? There are 2+ billion Muslims in this world, and they would say, yeah, now we consider you a Khalifa because you prove to be a Khalifa. You prove to be a leader. Here is chance. The only chance he's going to get, because no matter what, his blackmailable files, they're going to be outed by Israel and by the US. That's a given. And if he thinks he's going to be like Assad, because he has bank accounts, they have bank accounts. The whole family has bank accounts in England. They have bank accounts in Qatar. They have bank, and this is confirmed, okay? This is a confirmed statement on bank accounts. They have it in the USA, they have it in England, and they have it in Qatar. But if you think you're going to be like Assad and you're going to be given a heads up, and Russia is going to say, come on, I'm going to put you right next to Assad. I give you a villa, okay? And bring your money, so that money comes, some of it, to Russia. Russia is not going to do that. You know why? Because Erdogan has been effing Russia. Erdogan has been effing Russia. People, again, I broke the report before this Iran stuff. In December, I said those two missiles that Turkey right away blamed on Russia and says Russia's missiles cost Turkish seas and the soil, and it could have done and be intercepted. It's bullshit. And Russia and Lavrov, Putin, they both said false flag. He's lying. Russia is not going to treat Erdogan like he did with Assad. So Erdogan, you can't go to Russia, boy. You can't. Your end will be very similar to Gaddafi. Your end is going to be very similar to Saddam Hussein. You're going to go that way, okay? You're going to go like Maduro. You're not going to go like Assad, because Assad aligned himself at least with Russia. You have been fucking both ways. You know, it's like you don't know your gender, you know, it's that way. Yeah, there you go. They're going to say, I insulted the president of Turkey. And in Turkish law currently, which he wrote, if you insult, you will be convicted under the treason laws and put in jail. I know, but I have to tell the truth because I'm warning you. I'm saying you have a chance here, Erdogan. You have a chance. Do the right thing and say, I'm going to be on Iran's side. You're going to see even those Gulf states would crumble because they're going to have their revolutions there. They are going through their TikToks. They are going through their TikToks. There's going to be major revolution there because nobody's talking about the people factor. That is for the second part. Now, the second one has to do with Azerbaijan. Okay, people, Azerbaijan just shipped several, cargoes of humanitarian aid to Iran. Now, the moment I saw that news report, people, the moment I saw it, I was like, WTF. Azerbaijan is an Israeli base, military base, intelligence base. It has been since 1999, okay? You can go and see, okay? Don't take my words for it. It's completely governed by Israel, okay? It's influenced by Turkey, and Turkey is subservient to Israel, but is directly governed by Israel. Now, if you remember a week ago, just a week ago, in fact, less than a week ago, they did a false flag. Azerbaijanis, Israelis, with the help of Turkey, the trio did a false flag. And this missile false flag was to show they actually put in writing, the brand of what is written on Iranian's missiles, and said, oh, Iranian missile targeted and hit Azerbaijan. Bullshit. Guess what? It didn't even take 48 hours. It didn't even take 48 hours for it to be debunked, okay? But guess what happened? Within the first 8 hours of the incident that they created their false flag, because that's why they did the false flag, Aliyev, Azerbaijan's president, Israeli stooge, with severe drug and alcohol and gambling problem. If you think that the files on some people, in the US are thick on Epstein files, you should see Aliyev's file. It's not only Epstein file. He's a gambling, right? I mean, chronic gambler, alcoholic, drug user. I mean, this guy is like is a rotten, and he's an idiot. So he came out, Aliyev, president of Azerbaijan, and he announced that this was declaration of war by Iran. And as of today, he stated, we are at war with Iran. We are at war with Iran. People, those people who multitask, please go and Google it, okay? Google it. Even Google, right? Pro-Israel Google will give you what I just told you per established reports. So just the fact that Azerbaijan sends this humanitarian aid, which is every single Muslim nation should be doing it, and they should be citing, they should be supporting Iran. I'm like, what the heck? This is weird. And people, within a few hours, I was contacted by a source, okay? This source is connected to an Azerbaijani, and I'm saying kudos to you. Our insider source in Azerbaijan, who works for a company, Israeli-Azerbaijani security company, said these cargo ships, the containers, some of the contents, they are all equipped with all sorts of chips and Israeli spying gadgets, okay? Hello, Iran. I'm going to catch my breath. Send me emoji. Tell me if you want me to keep going or do you want me to stop and take a break and catch. Okay, I got one emoji here. Thumbs up. Do you are you a little bit tired? Your ears? I can have a switch here, give you a break, and then after that we will go to the other parts. Let me know, people. 2, 3. Okay. All right. It's not much left because after that for part 2 we're gonna have even more firework and stuff, people. So Iran knows. Iran knows. But those of you who can multitask, put it on Twitter. Attention, Iran. Hashtag Iran. Watch out for those containers, cargo, humanitarian aid sent to you by Azerbaijan. I know they know, but you need to let the world know. Let the world know because this is so disgusting. This is so subhuman and dirty to use humanitarian aid food for people who are really in need now, for a country that truly needs it right now, right? And then use it for that satanic genocidal despicable Zionist illegal occupation. Shame on you, Azerbaijan. Shame on your government. I have nothing against Azerbaijani people. My father was from Azerbaijan, okay? That's 25% of my blood. Nothing. All respect to people in Azerbaijan. Get rid of your government. Roast them, unseat them, revolt, do whatever it takes. They're degenerates on top of it the president. And before that, it was his father. Okay. All right. So that's for that. And then there are all sorts of stuff on Turkish government blackmailable stuff. I'm going to leave that for later. On the second half of this lively firework, and we'll go for as long as you want, people, we are going to talk about the people in the world. In fact, we're going to start in a way going there. And I want to hear from those of you who want to speak. And again, you can put your note to Lucas here in the chat section. We already have some people that have been arranged. Robert Diggins with us. Ali Syed is here. Patrick is here. I believe Jeff is here from Patreon and maybe others because my screen only fits and it says, 14 more. So I have no idea. But Lucas is on top of that. But let's go to Lucas because look, I told you, nobody's touching Turkey angle. I'm talking about all the colonels or all the former intelligence people. They put some really good information, but you must agree. If you agree, let me know. Everybody has been recycling the same information over and over and over and again. That yeah, it will be detrimental for US trying to get the island of Karg and the ground troops, even if they are 10,000. I mean, Iran would dwarf them. Everybody acknowledge, everybody agrees with you, right? And then US simply doesn't have enough missiles and interceptors. Okay, we heard that 15 days ago. Can you please cover the most important angles that you have not covered? Can we please cover Turkey and the other things that is not being covered as if they don't matter, that they are nothing but goyams or something? It's the people. It's the people. The reason I gave the example of Turkey of its feet on, right, in this breaking report that I put, is because, look, there is such a thing that is called people power, right? The people in Turkey have spoken. And guess what? They made their sold out guy back off, okay? As we say in Turkey, tükürüğünü yaladı. He came out and he licked his own spit. He said, Israel here is the perpetrator. He kind of whispered it, okay? It was not really as strong as Turkish people usually deliver. He's a man. We've got manly man in Turkey. That's not how we talk. What is that? Well, Israel, perpetrator. Okay, now, people factor is important. We have seen all this news coming from Spain. We have seen the pictures. We have seen the videos. We're proud of you, Spain. Spain, Christian nation of Spain, they have risen and they have spoken. And guess what? Their leader acknowledges them, right? Can you hear me, Erdogan? Don't you want to be like the president of Spain? Don't you want to be celebrated and respect it? Come on. This is your last chance. Act, and maybe you'll become a Khalifa, because Turkey can, honestly. Turkey has the military might with the Turkic nation in Central Asia, in Caucasus. Turkey can make sure there is no Israel. Okay? I'm not saying it as like hyperbole. I'm not saying it. Can you imagine Iran and Turkey? They don't even need that GCC Arab nations. There will be no Israel. We would end the misery of the globe, the non-stop misery of globe for the past 55 years. Come on, become a Khalifa. Become like the guy in Spain and act, not in words only, not in words. Turkish people have heard too much of those very good sounding barking at how you're standing up against Israel while you're becoming Israel's second biggest trade partner. Turkey, Turkish government. Supposedly, Turkey has had ban on trade with Israel since 2022. The reports leak. Turkey has been, after Azerbaijan, second or third largest trading partner for Israel. Guess who is transporting oil and supply and food to Israel right now? The biggest one. Turkey, Turkish government. End it. Starve them. Starve the genocidal maniacs. Save humanity. You have a chance. I'm proud of you, Spain. I just watched a couple of videos on Japan. People in Japan are making their voice heard, even though their prime minister so far is not listening, but they stand their ground. They yell loud enough and for long enough, and their representatives are going to back off too. Now, let's start with my co-host. Let's hear from Brazil. I really want to know. I haven't read anything on people's reaction in Brazil. Lucas is in Brazil, from Brazil. He's my co-host, and I'm so thankful to him for joining us. And then we want to hear from Pakistan, because there are some really important developments on Pakistan. And I have questions for Ali Syed. And then from that point on, we're going to move to other speakers. And with that, I am going to mute my mic and have Lucas take over. Lucas, tell us about Brazil. Okay, let me see. Let's see if we can connect to Lucas. Can you hear me? Do you have your mic?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Lucas here. Can you hear me? Could you send an emoji?
Yes, we can hear you. And
Okay.
perfect
Okay.
sound.
Nice. So I will just talk a little bit about Brazil, and after, if Sibel wants me to, I can also tell you about the news from the last 5 hours. There are a few things happening, but let's start with Brazil. So in Brazil, the main thing that is being discussed is the issue with the election. So this year we have a presidential election, right? So Lula uh, is probably going to go for a re-election. Lula is the uh, uh, center-left leader of Brazil Workers' Party, and he is probably going to face Bolsonaro's son. Bolsonaro was the far-right president of Brazil after the country suffered a coup d'état in in the middle of the 2010s. Um, the vice president assumed power, and then Bolsonaro was elected to be the president. He is a far right conservative politician, very much like Trump. So same style, same brazenness, basically the same kind of character. He even got Steve Bannon to help him with the election campaign and so on. So you know what kind of character he is. So a few things that are being looked at here in Brazil. We have, for example, uh, this election is not by any means decided yet. So Lula has a few points ahead of the second candidate, which is Flávio Bolsonaro, the son of Jair Bolsonaro. But nothing is decided yet. So Lula has not a good approval rating so far. So, for example, he has right now 39% thinks his government is being negative, approval is negative. Um, 32% said that his government is being positive, and 27% are saying that it is regular, right? So, and we have very much a division between the south of the country, which is richer, right, and the northeast of the country, which is the region from where Lula comes from, which is poorer and always supported Lula. We have also a region in the Midwest, Center West, we call it, of the country, going up to the Amazon frontier, which is very much dedicated to agro-business, right? And this portion too is more favorable for Bolsonaro and right-wing parties. So we are going to have a pretty a pretty tough election cycle, uh, and this is what is worrying some people here, because we know that the United States interfered in many countries in Latin America already, and even Lula, he was talking with the South African president a few days ago, and he said that one thing that is very uncharacteristic for Brazilians to talk about. Here in Brazil, we are considered a peaceful country, right? It's not. It's not true um, uh, in the sense that we still treat our indigenous people very bad. We still have a lot of racism here, but we are considered by the rest of the world, if not Paraguay, because we committed a genocide in Paraguay in the 19th century with the help of England. But aside from that, we are considered a peaceful country. So here in Brazil, it's very uncharacteristic for a president uh, to talk about defense, war, or military. I uh, have something like 25 years of following the news and something like that. I have never heard any president, not just Lula, because Lula is center left, so he wouldn't talk as much as others might. But even Fernando Henrique Cardoso and other presidents that came before him, I've never heard they talking about strengthening the military and Brazil's defense. A part of this is because we had a brutal dictatorship from 64 to 85, and one of Brazil's former presidents from the Workers' Party, also Dilma Rousseff, she was tortured during our military dictatorship. The dictatorship ended like with no accountability for the dictators, the torturers. So Brazil never really got over it. And so for this reason and others, it's very uncharacteristic for Brazilians to emphasize the military uh, and the defense of the country. Right now, Lula started to talk about this. So when he was with South African representatives leader, uh, he told him, if we don't prepare ourselves in terms of defense, one day someone will invade us. This is something Brazil needs, similar to South Africa's need. Therefore, we must combine our potential and see what we can do, what we can produce together, build together. We don't need to keep buying from the lords of weapons. So this is a quote from him uh, just now. And another thing that he called attention to is the Brazilians' share of the critical minerals and rare minerals market, right? Critical minerals are important for modern weapons, for example. So again, he's emphasizing something related to defense. Uh, uh, this message can mean some things, not just one thing. Uh, a thing that he can be trying to appease is like Flávio Bolsonaro is probably more appealing to a lot of the army. So a lot of when Bolsonaro attempted the coup here in Brazil, he did it with the help of some military officials. Not everyone will would help, uh, but he would have a sizable chunk of the higher military echelon that would support him in his attempt at uh, applying a coup d'état here in Brazil. So at the end, so another quote from Lula, just to finish up talking about this. Our countries have great potential in the area of critical minerals. We need to have a concrete survey of what South Africa has in terms of critical minerals and rare earths. And he talked also about production because Brazil basically exports raw minerals and raw commodities since its inception, right? So our country's name is the name of a wood. So we exported this wood for Portugal. Then we had 2 centuries of just planting sugar cane, basically. Then we had the gold period, right? The precious metals period. Then we moved to coffee, and today we have something like coffee, sugar cane again because of ethanol, and cattle and beef. So Brazil is very much a exporter of raw materials. And now Lula is talking about building up again a military defense industry uh, from and to use these raw materials to build the industry to build the weapons. So uh, because this could be considered to the U.S. like an act of defiance by Lula, I think that he's signaling more to our own military than to the world, right? I think this could be the message, although it's hard to say because, of
Look at
course, I don't have
one
access to
question. Um,
higher ups no, or anything like that. But this I thought was the main thing I wanted to bring to you. And The other thing is Brazil, Brazil in regards to Iran, the Iran war. Lula basically condemned the surprise attack and the war of aggression by the United States and Israel, but also make sure to point that he is not in favor of Iran's regime. So I'll leave you with another quote. So I have never asked anyone to agree with Iran's regime. I myself do not agree, okay? But we need to learn to respect the self determination of peoples. We must learn to respect the territorial integrity of countries. Then he talked about a few other places. We cannot have who thinks they own the world and wakes up in the morning saying, I'm going to take Greenland, I'm going to take the Panama Canal, I'm going to take Cuba, I'm going to take Venezuela. That is not possible. That is not possible. The world needs peace, not war. The world needs education, not war. The world needs food, not war. So this is his message, and he also talked about, and we are here doing nothing. And we have nothing to do with this. We are 14,000 kilometers away from Iran, and who are far from Lebanon, who are far from Israel. Why do we have to pay the price for fuel? So again, he's trying to like excuse himself from the probable rise in fuel prices, even though Brazil is, uh, I believe, practically auto-sufficient in oil prices. But when the price of oil tends to rise in the external market, it tends to rise here in Brazil, and it almost immediately gets to the pump. So people
Can
are
you
going
hear
to
me,
get very
Lucas?
mad. Here in Brazil, people are crazy about gas prices. I never seen something like that. So, it's the best way to erode the approval rating of a candidate. If the gasolina, the gas goes up like 10 or 20 cents, people go crazy here. We have a this middle class here, mostly white middle class, more conservative Catholic, which is the conservative religion in the country, the more ancient religion here, and these people are very much tied to the value of cars here, because here we have also a
Lucas,
public
can you hear me?
transport system which
Hello.
functions in a very corrupt manner. It is very, very pricey, and it's very, uh, very bad. It's uncomfortable. The buses always take a long time to come. You wait for like 2 hours on your foot to get to your home. Sometimes you have to take two or three, sometimes even four buses to get home, depending on where you live. So basically, this is it. And I think basically this is what I had to tell you. I don't have nothing like Sibel's sources or anything like that, but
Lucas,
maybe
can you
you
hear
would
me?
like to know this. I
I
think
can,
one thing that Lula is
I can.
probably going
People, can you
to
hear me? I
be
don't know if my audio
communicating
is
with
working or not.
Iran
Can you
is
hear me?
like, look, you can, for example, for example, insist in keeping going, but you have to take into account that this could lead to a lot of governments like Brazil, which is part of BRICS, falling into the hands of authoritarian and parties or persons like Flávio Bolsonaro. So this is something that you will probably have to take into account. Regarding the United States and Israel, I don't think Lula is going to do nothing to piss them off greatly, because Brazil is very much a country that doesn't enter.
Sorry, Lucas, I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna bring you back. For whatever reason you couldn't hear us, but I just had one question and I will get back to you. I was gonna say you live there, you know the people, you're in touch with a lot of people. And my question to you was, and it still is, if you were to give percentage based on the people you see you're in touch, what is the public opinion, not the president's, because we know about presidents and their words. Yes, we need more food. We need more food here in the United States, believe me or not. Middle class is disappearing. I just want to know what the Brazilian people there, people in Brazil, feel about this war. I mean, they surely are watching and they are seeing it in social media. Are they more like, we don't like this? And what is their attitude, people's attitude? Because we have, I no longer pay attention to Trump's speech either, but hold on, I will bring you back here. But for whatever reason you couldn't hear me as hold on. I will take care of that. And before I come to Burak, we have another gentleman here from Turkey, and I would love to have his perspective. And Burak, you don't have to be in full agreement with me. One of the things that we do here is we I welcome people who actually debate and say, actually, it is this way, so that we can have a debate going on. So please, when you come after Ali Sayed, feel free to put forth your opinion, your analysis, and don't worry about me if it agrees with my opinion or not. I don't have those ego issues, and I find it really interesting to hear from actually even contradicting views. So we will come to you, Burak, and thank you for being a speaker. And Lucas, can you hear me now? Give me a sign.
Yes, I
Okay.
can.
Okay. I tried to send an invite as a speaker to Ali Sayed, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be going through. Maybe you can try Ali Sayed. And while you're doing that, the reason is very important, Pakistan people. We just had this mysterious, interesting, nobody's really talking about this bombing by Pakistan that happened in Afghanistan, and the reasons for it is not being discussed, it's being hush hush. And the reason I'm very, very interested in that, and we all should be, is one of the fronts against Iran, especially for ground troops, okay? And I reported on this again, and it was called 5,000 strong ISIS army, CIA's ISIS army. If you know, we had during this clash between the Kurds in Syria with al-Sharaz government, yeah, the al-Sharaz ISIS government. There were these prison escaped, and some of these prisoners were rounded up and supposedly transferred to Iraq. Well, 5,000 ISIS jihadis were taken out of Syria, northern Syria prisons, multiple prisons. Multiple convoys back to back kept going back and forth between Iraq, right north of Baghdad, and Syria, northern Syria, transporting these terrorists, jihadi ISIS there. And again, it was one of those things that the media didn't touch. We covered it. I put several breaking reports on that. And then after that, what I got from my sources is they are actually not in the prison north of Baghdad. They are in former US military, still is a military base, okay, but most of the military evacuated, and CIA took care of it, and CIA has established a camp there. So these prisoners that they transferred there, they trained them further, they armed them. This is the CIA. Some of those are transferred to northern Iraq. The rest, over 3,000, have been transferred to Baluchistan. Okay, this is the border region where you have Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran borders kind of joining each other. And Iran shares part of Baluchistan. It's called Sistan. Okay, and per my sources, and this is new, this is less than 2-3 days old, that 3,000 plus ISIS jihadis by CIA were transferred to Baluchistan already. With that, I would love for Ali to provide us an overview. Number one, what was that bombing about? What is going on really? What is happening? What is the situation with Afghanistan? Is it related to the ISIS jihadis that CIA have transported to Baluchistan? Because that's one of the front for ground troops that's going to be used. But first, they want to smuggle these jihadis into Sistan. And anything else that he wants to add on. And again, thank you for joining us, Ali Sayed, and I will mute my microphone.
Hi, Sibel. It's very nice to join the space. So I think you asked about the Afghan bombing that occurred, and the reasons for this conflict are not new, and it's mainly to do with the Durrant Line and Pakistan's Afghanistan's insistence that Pakistan's land and airspace not be provided to third parties to attack them, and Pakistan has in fact refused these guarantees. So just on a side note, they officially um, refused the U.S. Its use of its airspace and land to attack Iran. That's the official stance, and they say it's because Iran is a recognized government, unlike the Taliban. So going back to the Taliban, this is the main crux of the issue: the Durrant Line and mainly the use of Pakistan's airspace to attack Afghanistan, which Imran Khan actually gave guarantees that he wouldn't allow that. So, I mean, obviously now he's not there anymore. So this is the main crux of the issue with the Afghan-Pakistan conflict. I haven't really prepared a speech, so I would really appreciate if there's any questions, specifics. You also mentioned about the Baloch ISIS that's supposed to be injected in Pakistan. I haven't heard any official sources, but obviously I trust Sibel's word. She was one of the few people to warn people about training camps for the Syrian regime change operations in Jordan. So if there is such a thing, they'd probably be joining ISIS-K, which is kind of combined with the BLA, which is on the border with the Sistan, Balochistan province. And if they do decide to put boots on the ground in Iran to fight Iran, I think Balochistan is one of the options that's available to them. So if there is any further questions, I would really appreciate that, since I don't really have a speech prepared.
One more question. One more question on that, and please go ahead with your speech. And that is, okay, Trump brought it up 3 times since his election. It was in June, then in August twice, saying, we want the Bagram Air Base back. We changed our mind, and we're going to take, either Taliban is going to hand it to us, or we're going to get it, take it back by force. And we also know that China has been establishing a very strong presence in Afghanistan, you know, and also that's a trade route from Iran through Xinjiang, you know, through Afghanistan, then Xinjiang, and then into China. So that's another reason I believe that Trump wants a Bagram back. Now we want Bagram Air Base back. But so far, Taliban has said no. And then Trump said, well, if they don't give it back voluntarily, then we're going to go and take it, you know, in his usual Trump way. And I know one major factor for that is China. But now with Iran being important, right, and the ground troops plans, right, and you have to, you know, target your enemy from different points so that they are truly paralyzed, right? From north, you have Caspian, the other side, Azerbaijan, you have northwest, you know, Turkey sitting there, northern Iraq, right? And also the Kurdish faction there. Then that leaves the southern border, which would be that Sistan, Baluchistan. And I know Pakistan has a stake on that because they have been fighting these liberation army of Balochistan that is completely funded by the CIA. These are the Baluchi ethnic minority in Balochistan. But then now it's being important for Iran. Would you provide anything that maybe people, or I'm very interested to find out about that whole thing with Pakistan and this headache with these. This is like a liberation. Whenever they say liberation army, it's the same thing for the Turkestan, which is Xinjiang's Muslim ethnic minority. It's always it's like, okay, CIA is kind of feeding and arming and training these factions so they can use it against the countries and balkanize them. Basically, that's the summary of it. And do you have anything to add on that? And then from that, we go to your prepared speech, please. I'm muting myself.
Hi, so in regards to the Bagram Air Base, you have to think that it's not only China that they're targeting with this. I mean, this would have been extremely helpful in the attacks against Iran also. And I think Iran is very grateful for to the Taliban for not allowing US to come back. And they are 100% using Pakistan to leverage them into selling this. But I don't think Pakistan can militarily take it away from them. I don't think that's really viable, especially now that they're trying to drag Pakistan in to defend Saudi, especially now. So I think, Sibel, you misunderstood. I said I don't really have a prepared speech, but I mean, I do have some bullet points I would like to get through.
Please go ahead. We are
yeah.
listening.
So one of the things I think you asked me was the sentiment in Pakistan regarding this this conflict with Iran and all the people involved. And I think it's a common knowledge, just like in Turkey, like the vast majority of people in Pakistan, they don't support Israel. They don't. They support the Palestinian side, and they view Iran as the state sponsor of Hamas, specifically with martyred Yahya Sinwar's speeches thanking Iran for it. So they're very reluctant to step in the side of Saudi Arabia or allow boots on the ground. So another aspect of this is Pakistan's demographic, which is, I mean, it's the second largest Shia concentration of population in the world. So they have like more than 50 million Shias, and they are by default pro-Iran due to their ideological relations with that. And the surprising factor when I was studying this was the amount of support that the Sunni Islamist groups have shown to Iran, which is really surprising to me. I'll just list a few people so people know like which groups they are. There's a Mufti Muhammad Taqi Usmani, which is the Grand Mufti of Pakistan. He's made positive speeches for Iran. There is Maulana Fazlur Rahman, chief of Jamaat Ulema Islam Fazl. There's Hisham Ilahi Zahir, which is the Salafi scholar, and he has shown obviously his support as well. There's a famous Tariq Jamil of Tablighi Jamaat. There's the Tehreek al-Labbaik, and then there's Shahibzada Hamid Raza, chairman of the Sunni Ittihad Council. So pretty much all of the Islamist parties in Pakistan, they are ready to show support. And like in the previous war, some of these groups have even offered people from their madrasas as foot soldiers. So I think the chance of Pakistan allowing boots on the ground via their border is very low. I mean, they are risking literally a civil war. I mean, these 50 million Shia, when Ayatollah Khamenei was killed, they literally tried to overrun the American embassy, which is fortified. They were literally fighting with machine guns with no arms. So like a bunch of them got killed. And so they're the emotional connection to Iran. And I don't think Pakistan is going to risk civil war. And for example, in 2016, when they tried to get Pakistan to join the Saudi-led coalition against Yemen, Pakistan refused for that exact reason, stating that it would cause a civil war in Pakistan itself. So the second thing is, the reason why I don't think it'll be very popular to sell this war to the Pakistanis is that they need oil and they're starving for oil. And I mean, if they show this stance, Iran is going to cut off their oil. So like already now the schools have been canceled, people are not moving around as much. It's kind of dire there as well. And the one thing, I mean, on the other side is the Saudi influence, which is pulling Pakistan in towards the conflict. Just like the Article 5 that I think Erdogan might want to invoke if he has the backing for it. Pakistan has a similar agreement of mutual defense with Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan has been negotiating its role in that by, they've asked for a 10 billion economic aid proposal already, and in March 2026, they estimate. So they're asking for a combined package of 25 billion in combined liquidity, debt restructuring, and investment. So I think they are negotiating what role they're going to play in case Saudi Arabia is given the green light for an offensive, which is kind of worrying because, I mean, the public sentiment will be taken into account, but they have to honor their legal obligation, which they have signed in the pact. But obviously, they're also busy with the Afghan war. They have quite a lot of excuses, in fact, to not actually go in there. And if they do go in there, what analysts are really saying is that they will maintain a very covert role, a defensive role, intelligence providing, mainly people stationed in Saudi Arabia for defense rather than attack. Pakistani public, like the Turkish public, will categorically not support any attack on its neighbor like that. And obviously, the years of war that we have seen in Afghanistan, it hasn't had a positive impact on Pakistan either. They've lost 70,000 soldiers. There's been a bunch of three-letter agencies running around Pakistan with their proxies. And here I would like to bring in India as well. I think it's not directly the US that's managing this project, because India has a very active role in obviously Balochistan, and now they're also allied with the Taliban, and they're openly on their media discussing their support for the Baloch separatists. So they're really kind of backtracked on their alliance with Iran, and they've gone full pro-Israel on this. And you can see, like, in Iran has not really given the permission to release their tankers on a permanent basis. They released a few tankers, but in exchange for some of the blocked Iranian tankers that were stuck in India. But like, unlike Pakistan, whose ships have gone through, Indian ships have not, which is showing a kind of a rift in the relationship between India and Iran. And I would like to. I think that India will be managing. It's very strange. So you have a Hindutva government that's going to be managing ISIS-K, literally, I think, with the BLA, if they decide to go through with that. So I just wanted to highlight that angle as well. And if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer that. I don't really have much more.
If you stick around, I do have more questions for you. And then towards the end, I want to cover the global spring. We had that artificial synthetic CIA Soros Arab Spring, but I believe possibly there's a chance of global spring, whether Iran wins or lose. And with that, we're going to get back to Pakistan and the public sentiment there. And it's extremely important because Israel started capitalizing on the Baluchi ethnic minorities, right? Almost 8-9 years ago, but they increased their activities greatly in the past 2 years. So they had zero presence in that region, but the presence started really increasing and expanding in that Baluchistan. And I have been screaming Baluchistan, Baluchistan nonstop. And most people, especially here in the United States, are like, what is she talking about? She's back to her stand again. But I keep underlining, emphasizing, people, you are looking at a very, very, very important region, Balochistan. So we wanna have you hopefully with us. And with that, I want to go to Burak here and extend the mic to him. He can tell us a little bit about himself and provide us with information on Turkey front. I'm really excited to hear your perspective, Burak. I'm going to mute, and the microphone is yours. Burak, are you still with us? Can you hear me, people?
I can hear you. Who's going to speak now?
Burak, can you hear us? You should activate your mic. If you click on the mic symbol, it will activate your mic, and I can mute mine here. Everybody else can hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm gonna go mute, and Burak will take the mic, hopefully. Okay, well, I think maybe he will come back. I know if he is in Turkey, it is really, really late in Turkey. What happened? I'm so sorry we lost him. I hope he will come back here, because I was really excited to have his perspective. And with that, who else? People, anybody who wants to speak, please send a request through the comment section. Then either Lucas or I'm not good with that, will bring you in. Anybody here? I'm looking at the comments.
I can hear you.
Let's see. I know we have Robert here. We're going to go to him for the second part when we are talking about Global Spring. But as I said, this year we want to make sure people feel like, debate us, debate me. If you have any disagreement, bring it up. Let's have a nice, lively discussion. Otherwise, I will get on my soapbox and I will fire away, and you will be like, your ears will be pounding and hurting here. As you know, when I start going, I don't stop. I'm giving you an opportunity here. Okay. What happened to Jeff, Lucas? Is Jeff here with us?
Let me see.
Oh, yeah, it's peace here. I see it. And I sent Jeff a few thing to give him the speakers venue here with the mic, but I don't think it went to him. Do you want to try that, Lucas? With his avatar starts with PEA, peace.
Peace.
That's
Okay.
Sapien
Oh,
for-
I'm. The X keeps dropping me. I'm a speaker now. I'm not a co-host anymore.
Oh, it's
like three
I think
times.
I think Elon Musk is really screwing with us,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is really strange. I'm gonna go ahead and send the
Okay.
the
Yeah, yeah, and then I
co-host
can do
again
it.
to you.
Thanks.
Okay, who's speaking?
Carlos.
Sure. Okay, great idea. Thank you, Carlos. Do you want to speak, Carlos? First of all, delighted to have you with us, Carlos. I think I already am following you, and I don't know if you're with us at Patreon or not, but thank you. And I agree with you. But one thing that is happening, that's why I want the people angle to be covered, which nobody is covering. People, for example, don't know how much suppression and repression is happening in Saudi Arabia and Gulf countries, let's say Kuwait. There are so many people there that the jails are like totally packed, right? And they have a lot of jails. It's very similar to Egypt, and the same thing very similarly with Turkey, for example. Many journalists have been rounded up and they're in jail currently, sitting in jail, and President Erdogan made an agreement with Elon Musk's X. So with just like, very easily, they suspend people and they block people. They block information that Turkish people can't see, and they basically silence people with how do you put it, iron fist. So because of that, and because of lack of real journalism on the ground, even like the Western media or the alternative media, people assume that there is this silence by the people, but that is not true. The level of oppression by these oppressive governments is extremely high. And for example, I mean, right now we have a chance that the biggest nightmare of Saudi Arabia may be coming true, because Saudi Arabia, I mean, the only way they have been sustained is basically a welfare system, salary to all, jails, right? There is zero freedom of speech, there is zero journalism, and of course, being fortified by the United States military and intelligence, both, and also by Israel. But with these situations, that's why initially, before this meeting, they had the dinner they had with Foreign Minister Fidan. They are really scared, because in a second we can have a revolution in Saudi Arabia. And for a lot of people here in the Western countries, would be like, whoa, where did that come from? Because we didn't know there was even dissent in Saudi Arabia or in Kuwait. Oh my goodness, there is. These kingdoms, I mean, let me put it this way: without the US military and intelligence, and with this Iran catalyst happening, they won't be able to stay in power more than a few days. And they are coming down crumbling. They are coming down crumbling. So with that, great. I think I see Burak here. Hello, Burak. Lucas, let's try and see if we can Burak back in here. I'm going to send it invite to speak. And if mine doesn't go through, you click on his avatar. If you got my co-host invite, I sent that twice. Oh my goodness. Invite to co-host and the co-host invite. Do you see it? Okay, Burak, I sent you an invite, and I don't know, this X is really messing with me. Did you get the invite? If you
What's his handle? His name?
BUR, yeah, it starts with BUR. Okay, here we go. We have Burak. Finally, we lost you for a few minutes. You had the speaker's microphone and you were gone. But glad to have you. And I want to again emphasize, I do not mind civilized disagreement. You don't have to agree with me. The points I have put, and there are more coming from me on that as well. Please take this as an invitation to agree, disagree, criticize. As long as civilized, I'm absolutely open, and I can't wait to hear from you and perspective, a different perspective, hopefully on Turkey and what's happening. I'm going to mute myself. Microphone is yours, Burak. If you click on the microphone icon, it should open it, because now it shows you as a speaker, Burak.
Just click the unmute button.
Yeah.
You are on the APC, it's like the red button.
Brooke, can you send us like an emoji that we know that you can at least hear us? Oh, now Brooke's status went from speaker to listening. Invite to speak again. Let's see what happens this time. Okay, how about, what is happening here?
I'll try and help you. I'll try and help.
Okay,
Is he
while you're
here?
doing that, how about Jeff? Jeff, do you want to step in and join us? Here we go.
Let me try and find him. What's Jeff's
It starts
name?
with peace, and he had the, yep.
Oh, okay.
He was lighting up.
Oh, here he is. I can see him. Can you hear us, Jeff?
Yeah.
We can't hear you, Jeff. Okay. All right.
Today is not our day.
No, I know, but his status shows the speaker, but his mic right now shows on mute. So I'm not sure what's happening there. I sent an invite to Robert, and let's see if we can bring Robert to see if he has questions or a comment. Yes, Lucas.
The piece is the way it's showing like a little bit of volume. Perhaps he'll have to change the channel for a headset, for example.
Possible. Do you want to
Because
handle it? Maybe send him a comment in the comment section.
All right.
Okay.
Let me see.
And Robert, I send you an invite as well for speaker, and I haven't seen your status change. I keep sending it. Robert Diggins is here. I want to know if you have a question, because otherwise, oh, I feel sorry for you people. I am going to get on my soapbox, and then it's going to be a one-way live, and then you're going to be saying, oh my goodness, this is not space. Why nobody else is talking? I'm trying. I'm on the record here, people. Am I on the record? You're going to remember this. You're going to say, she tried her best.
Sibel,
yes, please.
Yeah, so do you recall Benjamin Netanyahu's speech in regards to the eighth front and the information battle for the digital age? Did you hear that speech?
Oh, yeah, it's been a while, but yes.
Yeah, I think it ties right into the conversation in regards to the battle for the narrative and the censorship that's happening on all spaces, mainstream media, digital outlet, and that battle is very real. So it is important to reach individuals and find ways to share information in regards to what's really happening with this war.
I believe you 100%, and I want to give you a few examples. For example, I have had so many articles and on Patreon and running it on X, on Facebook. If you were to go and Google, none of my articles are showing up under Sibel Edmonds. None of them. I mean, it's like complete censorship by Google search engine. And that's just, I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like it. Same thing, my YouTube new channel, it's not getting, it's they are 100% in control. and all they have to do from their side, just a tweak, automated tweak of who they want to go dark, who they want to have totally shadow ban, who they want to make disappear. And that is absolutely frightening, frightening. But also, that raises the question, okay? Because there are these people of, let's call them the people of dissent, right? Contrarians, like at least what they are saying is, anti-Israel in so many ways that it used to be censored. But then you see their algorithm has been jacked up so high that is like they are getting hundreds of thousands of new followers, let's say on X, over a week. And the same thing is true with videos. And I believe a lot of those are dubious as well. And I have been covering it on our Patreon sites for our live Sundays. We have every Sunday live session on Patreon, and I have been keeping track of this because with some of these talking heads, popular that they have made so popular, okay, it's impossible for that to happen without the gods of algorithm, Israel and all that. Without that, it's impossible. Meaning they want this on the forefront. And without dropping names or anything, I'm going to give one example here. One person saying, oh, the CIA hates me so much. They have put this proposal of having me prosecuted. First of all, there is no such a thing like that. If CIA wants you out, let's say, you will be out without even a trace, meaning if it's assassination. If they want you to be kind of muted and darkened, you would be. And if they want to put out things, get you on stuff, they can. So with that said, I do not believe any of these things. I want people, like I am doing it, to question everyone and everything. And I think the most risky, the most threatening ones are the ones that they look like us, they talk like us. You know what I'm trying to say? In Christianity, they refer to them as the Corinthians, right? Meaning, well, if like people, let's say the Orange Man and the Rubio, everybody like identifies them, right? That's easy. That's a piece of cake. It's out there, obvious. Therefore, for the resistance, meaning people like us, that's like a slam dunk case. We know we don't
Slam
follow
dunk.
what Trump says. And
Hey,
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm jumping in right here. This is Robert. Slam dunk. You hit the two magic words. We heard it in 2003, and we're hearing it now whenever it needs to be. But it's about capture of the people in whatever country.
It is.
How are we going to capture them? We've got Lumberjack, and he's got fake threats about this, and so you feel compassion for him, and oh, he must be telling the truth. That's just another level of capture. And what do we get every 4 years is more capture. It's fear. It's been God, guns, and gays from the 80s over and over again. Then it was, oh no, they're going to bomb Iran. And that was for 2 decades at least, was the big fear. So we don't know how far they'll go the next time. And you started giving a premonition that people were going to leave the two parties and go into independent mode, and that they were setting it up for that already, because we can't imagine that they'll go that far for audience or for the capture of the people's opinion and the trust and the willingness to give away whatever liberty you have for security. And that seems to be working in over and over again in cycles. But slam dunk, those were the two magic words that I had to just jump in really quick, and then I'll step back and you can ask me if you'd like me to speak again.
Because Robert, you have been around And we had similar things happen to us with the 9/11 movement, okay? For all the
Yeah.
demand, those of us who wanted to have real investigations, what did they give us? For example, they gave us CIA's Michael Schur, right? You know,
Right.
all the people who kind of took that as, oh yeah, they were totally for 9/11 investigation, and they started, these are all the ex-CIAs, etc. They started
Right.
putting out these books saying, well, because of all those abuse they had in the prisons in Egypt, and our imperialistic policies created these terrorists, and they kind of made it, hijacked it, and they basically killed the whole 9/11 movement, and the
Yes.
and those of us now, it's at
And
a
the
different
anti-war movement.
level. Back then we didn't have the social media like this. Now they can do it far more effectively. They can set the
Yeah.
stage so much better, because with Trump, they sold it, the idea of he's a
Big
guy
time.
outside the system. He's going to drain the swamp. Look, he's hated by the system because Twitter
Right.
kicked him out and banned him. Facebook banned him. He says he wants to drain the swamp. So with all the things, they set him up as what? The man outside the system. And look what they
Oh.
got. And the next one
Oh
is
yeah.
going to be an independent party,
But
because now they know Americans are not going to swallow Republican or Democrats. So they're going to give them, this one is going to be an independent party, not Republican, not Democrat. And they are building up their candidates right now as we speak, because they got, those people look contrarian. They sound like us. Man, every time they open their mouth, we are clapping. We want them to
hey,
be
somebody.
president.
Go
So
ahead.
yeah, absolutely. Before we go any further, this time
Yeah.
I want to see if Burak wants to speak. Burak, would
I'll
you want
mute.
to speak this time? Can you activate your microphone? Can you hear us, Burak? Okay, I tried again. I so want to hear from
Try to
Turkish.
unmute, Barack. Try to unmute. Your microphone looks muted.
Okay, now you're gonna mute, and we're gonna see here. Lucas, do we have anybody? Jeff, you lost Jeff. Carlos wants to speak. Okay, let's go to Carlos. Carlos, do you have a speaker's microphone? Yes, I do. I'm gonna go mute. Go ahead.
I agree. And it's a dragnet. I don't know if you can hear me, but I saw it after 9/11 too, when all the libertarians suddenly were born because they were leaving parties. And who was waiting for them but the Mises Institute and a lot of people downstream from them which I'm not saying they're all bad, but we got a really big dragnet for the uh, libertarian extreme kind of views, which all end up being insurance governed, private insurance company governments. But regardless, this happens over and over again, and they get new ideologies, boxes, and a menu you can pick from. And you can leave one and join the other. And it's all meant to lead you through a maze to the same place. But I agree with what you're saying. Excuse me for jumping in there.
No, those are all good points. And maybe this is, again, those of you, anybody else who wants to join us, and we will have Robert again on again, because now it's going to be really heated, free flow here. But Burak has been trying to join us, but he has connection problem, and because of that, he is not able to speak. But he has an open invitation. We are going to have this again, the space, and I promised our friends in Turkey, in the Middle East, in Europe, that the next space we will do it on a weekend, and we will do it in the afternoon to accommodate their schedule, because I really, really can't wait to have other perspectives, or any kind of perspectives from, especially from Turkey, especially since I have been covering. And it's really heartwarming to see these notes with encouragement, because the government bots in Turkey, they have been sending so many threats and awful, awful stuff on the social media. And I can tell that they're either the government link or they are bots. But and they are basically quashing the voices of the Turkish people, and that's why I am so enthusiastic and excited, even if they disagree with some or all of my points. I would love to give them the stage. Okay, I see. Yes, who's Yeah, that would take hours for me to really, really delve into it, because that has become basically one of the areas where I have placed most of my focus, because I predicted the Turkish coup when everybody made fun of me 6 months before it took place. And that was when I had our own, my own space, but as a news organization. And I said, there's going to be a coup. There's a coup coming. And especially people from Turkey, they're like, is she crazy? The last coup we had was 1981. That was a different era. That was Cold War. Anybody who would even use the word coup and possibility for Turkey must be crazy. And after the coup attempt, I was like the headline on every single newspaper, in every single news station, TV station, every single one of them for weeks. They are replaying my video on the record, talking about there's going to be a coup. In less than a year, there's going to be a coup in Turkey. And I kind of supported actually President Erdogan for that, because he split with this guy Fethullah Gulen, who's the CIA's man, the Islamic guy who just died 2 years ago in exile here in the United States. And I thought, okay, by with the rift with Gulen, Erdogan was going to go for a stronger, independent kind of a Turkey, but I was let down, and I believe that's because of the threat and the blackmail power. He crumbled. And it got to a point where I actually questioned, because I went to Turkey in 2018 and I was there for a year and a half. I went there with my family, and that I even questioned, because there are people who are questioning if the coup was real or if it was something to boost his popularity in Turkey, and kind of it was like a competition between him and Gulen. So that's like a very, very complex and very important angle that would take many, many sessions and hours, and I would love to talk about it. But as it stands right now, it's what matters right now is now, basically, with what's happening. His popularity has dwindled. Right now, he is in power because of his iron fist kind of a ruling. As I said, I'm not talking about a handful, I'm talking about many journalists have been detained and thrown in jail, prosecuted. So many people from military have been fired and or jailed, and the descent and his popularity is like now it's like really, really low. He's going, okay, he's gonna be out, and his party and his family members got involved in things that they shouldn't have, okay, and they gave Israel and the US so much material to be blackmailed on, okay, so many. And any of those, if they were to be released, it would be like, oh, it would be like thrown out of this, almost, I would call it right now almost like a regime. And this is like him digging that last few inches of his deep grave with Iran. Because honestly, they say, oh, if you were to commit many sins, and then if you do this and this, that will wash away your sin. Okay, that's some sort of an analogy. So despite all the horrific crap that they have on him, even if they were to release, but if he were to do the right thing now, he would not only gain and regain some of the previous followers' support, he would gain the world's respect, especially the Muslim world, because Turkey, as I said, has so much militarily. Nobody talks about it. Very few people know about it, okay? But Turkey is, if Turkey wants to, within 6 months, they would have nuclear weapons. They started gathering all the materials and intelligence in starting like in 1999, 2000. A lot of it is stolen from the US, okay, because this was during the same time as Pakistan. Pakistan was maybe by 3 years ahead of Turkey, but Turkey, I mean, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to touch it. There are people in the US, they know about it. It involved, part of it, my case involved that. But Turkey can have in 6 months nuclear weapons. They have everything in place for it, okay? And there is nuclear weapon in the Incirlik base, okay? NATO's Incirlik base, they have it there. So, and it has a mighty, extremely well-trained military. I'm talking about a force to reckon with. So if Turkey were to choose, Erdogan were to choose, I mean, that would be the boldest, that would be like the world's most revolutionary act. And they say, fuck it, you can release the stuff, I'm gonna do this. It's the end game. But because of these duality, two-facedness, the lying, they are in such a pathetic shape because of the government, because every single year Turkey applies to be an EU member, and they humiliate Turkey, and they're like, you're not fit in any way. First of all, it would be the only like real Muslim nation part of EU. Then they come and they ask for certain favors and things from the US or from the EU, and they get the slap, right? And it's humiliating. Then they get upset, right? Like a kid. They throw a tantrum, then they run to Russia and they're like, okay, fine. You know what? We want to be aligned with you. And then Russia is like, this is not a child's game. A, you're still a NATO member. Drop NATO membership. You can't have it both ways, right? Then Turkey throws the government another tantrum. Then they run and they want to be part of BRICS. So they go and they send their application, right? We want to be member of BRICS. BRICS look at them and they're like, dude, you got to make up your mind. So one day they are NATO nation. The next day they are trying to go and become part of BRICS. The next day they want to go and say, maybe we go get closer with Russia because US is screwing us on this. And nobody trusts them. How can you trust it when you are so indecisive? When you keep going back and forth between this position, you are left alone and actually ridiculed. And that is such a pathetic, horrible thing for Turkey to be in terms of a position, considering the assets it has. And Turkey has the assets, and it has assets militarily, one of the best top trained military in the world. And I'm not saying it because I'm part Turkish. I'm not saying it. I'm talking about they are legendary Turkish military. You talk with anybody who participated, who was drafted, who was in World War II, right? Korea War. Let them tell you about the Turkish forces, because Turkey was our ally, especially Americans. Everybody has like so many stories, because there's like one nation's military people in the military during Korea that nobody dared to mess with, and those are the Turks. A, they are tough, right? B, they are temperamental, and C, I mean, when it comes to like warfare, I mean, I'm talking about, I know Netanyahu used Genghis Khan, but I'm talking about descendants of Genghis Khan. They are mighty. Military might they have. Geopolitical, right? Geopolitical positioning they have. I mean, look, with the Strait of Hormuz, right? We see the pathetic situation the world is ending up in, right? With Iran saying, I'm going to close this one strait. That's the only strait, right? They have. Turkey has multiple that. Turkey has multiple that. From the strait from Black Sea into Marmara Sea, right? Then they have like the Mediterranean corridor. Turkey, as I said, because of its geographic location, geopolitical positioning, its military might, and if it were to choose to have nuclear weapons, which I encourage every country, even though I hate it, I encourage every country to have it. It's the only deterrence there is out there, right? Against these bullies, right? Nobody's messing with a nuclear nation. Everybody can see it. Therefore, everybody is going to seek it. And especially with the mockery, right? The United Epstein's network in the United Nations. That United Nation is a mockery. They are the Epstein's network. They're under Israel's thumb and the US thumb. And everybody has blackmailable stuff in the United Nations, anybody who's anybody. So United Nations is going to maintain what in the world? What has United Nations done for Palestine, right? What has United Nations done for any of the United States illegal wars? Nothing. So it's like a one-sided little piece of shit organization that is there to legitimize the bullies of genocidal practices and operations and illegal wars, right? Human rights violations right and left. Waterboarding by the CIA of the United States of America. Did the United Nations do anything about that? I mean, if we were to just list the United States violations of anything human rights, I mean, you would think right now the whole world should be at war with the United States. So it has no legitimacy. Nobody recognizes it as such. It's some kind of a symbolic figure out there pretending to be something that is not, okay? That is the summation for the United Nations. And back to Turkey, it would be the end game. I mean, it would be the shift of alliances, and it doesn't. There are Turkic nations. Turkey had that opportunity. Really, it did in the 90s. And that's why the United States came and they started the Operation Gladio B, which fucked Turkey, right? Turkey could have been a force united with all the other Turkic nations, the ex-Soviet blocs, right? Not only Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan fell into Israel's lap. Now Turkey is enslaved to the United States and Israel, right? The rest of them went back to Russia after seeing what the situation is like, the other Turkic nation in Central Asia and in Caucasus. And it's just like, they fucked it up. But anything that seems disastrous at the same time can be considered or looked at as a positive and an opportunity, right? There is an opportunity in some of the most unfortunate situations. And this is like this small, narrow, and the clock ticking on it opportunity, let's say for Turkey, to really put itself in a place where it would be something. And so far, from everything we see, doesn't look like there's a chance for it. But that's why I keep sending the message to Erdogan. This is because it's also for Turkey and these people. And Fidan, forget about Fidan. Fidan was co-opted while, when he was in Germany. He is not Turkish, really. But with Erdogan, it's like, man, they're going to F you. You're going to go like Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. I guarantee you, I'm sorry to inform that. You have this one chance. Instead of that, take a chance. Take a chance, because if you do it decisively, it can happen. It can be a victory. It really can. Because 99% of the people will line up in support. They're balkanizing Turkey. I mean, Turkey, yeah, they are using Turkey. They have all the blackmailable stuff, but they also have the plan to balkanize Turkey. They don't want Turkey to have this current position where it actually has an opportunity to be something, right? That's disgusting. That's horrible for them, right? So before that, Turkey is going to be balkanized. And even though Turks, they could never do it to us, with the Kurdish faction, yes, they can, okay? And that's in the plan. They're going to chop Turkey up. So if he has a shred of nationalism in him, if he has a shred of real patriotism in him, right, he would take this opportunity. He would roll the dice. Let me put it that way. He would roll the dice. Now, there was the second part on the blackmailable stuff, and with the time difference, Turkey, everything is gone. A couple of things I wanted to mention. One is, and that is confirmed, again, that is, I haven't written about it. This is Israel, right? And Trump being Israel's slave, it's not the other way around. They picked Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, purposefully. This is the holy month when everybody's fasting, okay? Even like the soldiers, even though Islam, the religion, makes the exception. Like if you're ill, if you're sick, if you're breastfeeding, like, your baby, pregnant, etc., you don't have to. You're exempt. And they have such thing even for at war times. But the people in Iran, a lot of the soldiers are actually fasting. And when you're fasting, you're not like in your tip-top the shape. But they intentionally picked the holy month of Ramadan. This is Israel. This is Israel. I mean, talk about satanic. They picked the month of Ramadan. And for their grand firework against Iran, the carpet bombing, they are waiting for Eid is coming. That's the end of Ramadan, the biggest holiday in the Muslim world. It starts this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Friday night, actually, it starts. And that coincides with Iranian New Year, which is Nowruz. Okay? So look how satanic this is. I mean, that is another sign here that is a fanatic religious war too on top of it. It is for Israel, for a satanic religion, not a real Jewish religion, but the satanic religion that they have turned us into. Ramadan, the New Year Nowruz, the first day of spring is when the year changes in Iran, okay? Like our New Year's Eve, that's their New Year's Day. And that's on March 21st. So that just shows you, I mean, it is so satanic, demonic, however you want to characterize it within those realms, that's exactly what they are doing. And I always try to, without being Pollyanna at all, I'm not a Pollyanna person, I'm too much of a cynic and cynical and pessimistic person, or maybe too much of a realist, but the same window of opportunity that we were talking about, I was talking about on Turkey, applies to the world, okay? Applies to the world. Not only the 2+ billion Muslim population in the world, but the whole world. That's why I mentioned like the demonstration in Spain and in Japan, and through despite their blackouts, being able to see the genocidal massacres, the inhuman, the satanic way of this war, right? So even if, which I hope it's not, but even if they were to win the Satan, right, and the great Satan, and Iran were to lose badly, right, they can't put that genie back in the box. Really, they can't. Something has shifted. Something has shifted. People are feeling it. Not only people in the United States, not only people in Turkey. There is this thing that globally has shifted. And it's not only the US's prestige, which is what prestige, right? It's the scariest force. Nobody can go. It's not only that. There is this shift within the people. That's why I'm screaming about why none of these people out there, all with 2 million viewership, and they're all recycling the same information, the number of missiles, you know. And again, spirituality wise, what it represents, not because I'm pro-Iranian government. And no, I'm not going to call it a regime, because if I were to call Iran a regime, I have to then call most of the countries in the world, including the Israel, like the US, everywhere regime, right? I don't. It's an Iranian government, and you see it by what you see on the ground with the people there, and the materialism in the U.S., right? And the lack of spirituality, strong faith, has never been this obvious to me. This crystal clear, present, obvious to me. You know, this all the news and the people talking about the gas prices, and they're going to be spending 220 or 200 billion more dollars, and that's going to cut on our things, and we're going to have and we are going to have the inflation and things like that, right? I mean, which goes with the financial hardship that comes with war, and they are real. Yes, they are. I agree. But imagine what Iranians are going through, right? And I'm reading, okay, and from people in Iran, and I'm looking at photographs, and I'm looking at these videos, and there are these people who are poor, and they are taking their bracelets, like a gold bracelet, they're going and voluntarily they are putting it and giving it to the government. Government is not taxing them. They are giving the tiniest bit they have to their government, voluntarily saying, this is for our country. This is for us. This is for you who's fighting for us. And they are doing that. And nobody in Iran has mentioned for the people, like, you're going to have inflation, we're going to have money, we have to spend more. They are saying this is, you know, something huge is shifting. And that is the window of opportunity the world has. I believe, that's my belief. I don't know if you agree or not. You can post your comments in the comment section, or you can send emoji. I believe the world, we the people in the world, we have this window of opportunity. That shift can be used to go in a positive way. and that's people in Spain, and that's people people in Spain, that's people everywhere, people in Japan. It doesn't matter. Like people in Spain, they're like Christians. You have people in Japan with their religion, and there are Muslims, there are Shias, there are Sunnis, there are Christians, there are atheists. It doesn't matter. That shift equally applies to everyone. And I see and I feel it. Do you feel the shift? I'm reading some of these things on the Twitter for people who are just people. They're not analysts. They are not media personalities. They are not journalists. They are just human beings, right? And you read, and I read, and pay attention, and I read in 3-4 languages, but I read and I feel, and I'm like, I haven't, even after 9/11, there was not this shift. There is a shift. There is this shift, and that is also an opportunity window. But the deep state is always trying to put itself, and it does, 3-4 steps ahead of us. As Carlos mentioned, right? They are manipulating the information. The censorship today is far worse than it was 15 years ago. This is unprecedented, okay? Not only that, with the AI, they can create all sorts of shit. They can take my voice right from here with my image, and they can put these things, and I can't prove that that is not me. I don't have any way. You don't have any way to prove it. And also, they also say, okay, being 3 steps ahead, because they have the pulse of the people. Let's say here in the United States, they are saying this time they're not going to fall Republican. They're not going to fall for Republican or Democrat. And this is what Robert was again saying here. They are creating this independent, because Republicans are not supporting these candidates. They are the popular people's voice. It may be Tucker Carlson, his father, the head of the Voice of America, lifelong CIA. He still is part of the CIA. But my God, he's so effective because he's there to win the hearts and minds of people for the next round. For the next round. Because those people who fell for Donald Trump, they're not going to fall for the same trickery again. So the trick has to be different. What do we do this time? This time we'll take the party out of it so people think they are voting independent. They are setting up their drain the swamp candidates. They have already set them up, people. They already have set them up. They have already groomed, set them up. And the more you feel like, wow, I'm so glad someone is finally saying that you are my new Jesus Christ, the more dangerous, the more effective they're going to be to co-opt with the game. Just look what this guy and his cabal have done just in 1.5 years into the presidency, right? So another 1 or 2, I don't think he's going to have 4 years. I don't think Trump is going to have 4 years. And the deep state is ready for it. Deep state is already selling people the next bridge, people. They are selling the bridge, and these bridges are being marketed very savvily. We have to give the deep state the credit. Otherwise, if we underestimate our enemy, humanity's enemy, other people call it the satanic people, then we are in deep trouble. So let's be cautious. Let's be suspicious. Let's keep our eyes and question everything. A lot of illusion out there. I'm gonna be wrapping up in 5-10 minutes, and I'm gonna have 2 people talk here because I don't want to be on the soap. I'll have Robert have 2-3 minutes, and then I'm gonna have Lucas, who has been so generous and kind with his time, preparing and helping and co-hosting this. And then I will say goodbye to you. And I'm ready to take any questions. I'm reading the comment section as well. I'm muting myself. You go, Robert, and then you are on, Lucas.
Thank you. Just going off from what you last said, did anybody notice that Kamala Harris was bragging about having Dick Cheney's support during the last debate, or the only debate with Trump. And I didn't see a big explosion in the press or anybody talking about it like it was something odd. It was, there's the neocons and the Democrats all married up, and it was normal. Something about it was normal, or it was a little prize that the Democrats got. But as Sibel was saying, it's like they used the parties for fuel, and they burned them. And people are going to be looking for something else. All I wanted to say is that with the people power focus, most people agree about most things most of the time, and we have a lot to learn from each other while we still can. But the real question is there a country that isn't going to be balkanized? Because eventually every culture that is remains a culture will be. That's the way I see the future from the path we're on. And so maybe my advice for individuals is to make sure you're not picking any ideological items from any menus. And you could still support individuals, of course, and but the cult of personality and ideology, and especially religion, is the way they do it. And we're seeing some things recycled from the end of the Cold War in the 80s that are like the moral majority in the United States. And maybe that was just in the run up to what's happening now, which has to be a religious war, a holy war on all sides. And they also had peace through strength in the 80s. And if you tried to have a conversation, some people, all they could say was love it or leave it, man. And that's all you got. If you tried to talk about things, there was nothing there in most people. And even with an explicitly illegal war happening, and that getting found out during Iran-Contra, with all kinds of illegal trafficking going on of drugs and weapons, and we're training death squads and dictators to go to Central South America, and we're starting to work with the Mujahideen to orchestrate them to draw, as Brzezinski said 20 years later, draw the Soviets into Afghanistan. Not the narrative that we were fed for 20 years, which was to repel them. And they were freedom fighters to stop the spread of communism. But Brzezinski said to the French press that, I don't remember the paper, but you can find it, that they got Carter to sign off on using the Mujahideen to draw the Soviets into Afghanistan. But I don't know what to say, except that what we have here is really good. And I want to thank Sibel for that, and for being who she's been for the last 25 years that I've noticed her. And man, I had a few other things to say, but it's really nice to be able to listen to. So I wouldn't mind if you just had 24-hour talk radio, Sibel, if you could do that.
Everything you said, well said, Robert. And you know what?
Thank you.
I mean, this is like the first real space session we've ever had, both for me and for Lucas. Two of us both. This is like
Oh,
baptism by
thanks, Lucas,
fire.
by the way.
And
Okay.
and I promise we are going to have another one soon because things are developing and they are developing back to back. I can't even keep up with like
Yeah.
posting on Patreon. So I'm thinking possibly I will put a poll. So those of you who follow me on X, because I'm shadow banned, please check like by coming to check my threads because I'm posting all the time. I'll put a poll out there. Possibly we'll have a session, afternoon session, so it will accommodate people across the pond as well. That would go on for hours, and we'll have more people. And Lucas said that we have Syed who wants to um, also speak. Syed, go ahead anytime. I will mute my microphone.
Hi, yes, I just wanted to quickly highlight the sequence of events I think that are designed to pull in bigger powers and cause a wider war. And I really wanted to highlight that so people are more vigilant. So we had the the killing of the leader of Iran and 170 girls, and I think that's really it was really designed to cause an emotional response from Iran, which they could in turn then justify the false flags that that Tucker Carlson even highlighted, which Kingdom of Saudi Arabia did not really push in the media. So just now, recently, like in the past 2-3 hours, Netanyahu had a speech, and he was highlighting that he has the option of ground invasions, and he alluded that he will not be naming any parties or who these people are that are going to be used for the ground invasion. And obviously, I think we know who they are. They could be the Kurds, they could be the Pakistani side, they could be the Turkish side, or they can come in from UAE to get Kharg Island. And I think this is very important to highlight now because they're trying to get a bunch of Muslim countries to fight each other so they can sit back and rub their hands. And I think that's really disgusting. So we had the false flags in Turkey, which obviously Sibel knows Iran denied, and there's no proof. There's no third-party verifications. And the same thing happened with Saudi Arabia when Aramco was attacked. So the Iranian side completely denied this. And just now, the IRGC spokesperson, the spokes, Ibrahim Zulfikari, very eloquent, he came up and he said that blatantly that they're trying to cause like a war between KSA and Iran, and they want to drag Iran into this, and they're going to create false flags. So I think we have to be very vigilant. We shouldn't be getting emotional and not picking sides, and realizing that this is really people are being manipulated, and I really wanted to highlight that. Furthermore, they have articles in the Wall Street Journal. They're thanking the GCC for helping them, when the GCC is denying this. They're trying to create a casus belli. It's kind of clear. So I just wanted to highlight that, and I wanted to ask Sibel, what are the chances of this still going on, and why do you think it's not happening? And if it does happen, who are the likely candidates? And that's it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ali. And I hope you will be a regular show as a speaker for all the coming shows. How long have we known each other, Ali? We go back to, I think, 20 plus years because you were there covering my case and all the stuff with 9/11. I would say since 2006. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think a little bit later, around 2010, if I'm not wrong.
2010.
Just before the start of the Syrian crisis.
And you have done so much work, like research, and you were writing regularly. And mine was because of personal circumstances. I disappeared for 5 years. I lost my husband to ALS, and he passed away. And so I was away for 5 years. But I think like you went away because I used to read Ali Sayed's articles, commentaries, research. Like he would document so thoroughly everything, timeline. And then when my I had a case because I blew the whistle also on these nuclear illegal nuclear technology, information, intelligence procurement that involves certain Turkish and Israeli network that also involve Pakistan. And Ali Sayed, I remember he was one of very few people who was out there. Sunday Times, they wanted to write a series, investigative series. They investigated it for months and they had like a 3 or 4 part series. And they, after they published the part 1, they had a visit. This is in London, their office by the CIA State Department official. And the editors, they told the editors, you immediately kill the story and announce that the part 2, 3, 4 won't come out. And one of the journalists blew the whistle. So I remember Ali was one of very few people who was like really paying attention and raising awareness. So I would love to have you with us as speaker for all these sessions. I'll make sure I'll send you a heads up. But you and I are always connected on X anyhow, because you're one of very few people who sees me and retweets the stuff and spreads it. And and then with the DM on X, I will send you my email address again as well, Ali. So because I would love to have you on Patreon as well, and that will be great. And with that, I'm going to go to Lucas and see what Lucas wants to do. My co-host, you're on.
Thanks, Sibel. Thanks, Ali. Thanks for everyone who joined. I'm sorry today was a little confusing for me, but I'll work to get it right next time. Okay. So just a few things. First, we are trying to translate Sibel's work into other languages. So, for example, I purchased a subscription for a professional specialized AI model that focuses on translation. Perhaps a few of you will know. It's called DeepL. Um, so we are first trying to translate it to Turkish, um, Portuguese, and Spanish. I will revise the Portuguese version. So yeah, and Sibel will revise the Turkish version, and we need people to tell us if you want a particular version, so we can translate and people can help and revise the translation, right? So the idea right now is put the ebooks on the website and sell it for cheap so we can help and spread the word. Okay, so this is what's coming next. The two other things, one is really quick. Population in Brazil, 77% are neutral or want Brazil to remain neutral. Um, it was quite shocking for me because I was expecting Brazil has a some 27% of evangelicals, right? They tend to be aligned with the positions of the American Protestant churches. So right now, some 6% at most are for the war here in Brazil right now, and you have something like 18%, only 18% of people in neo-Pentecostal churches are in favor of the war. So this is a nice thing, which wasn't expected. So people are against the war, right? And I think it will continue this way because uh, this is the most popular this war will ever be right here, I think. So, and this can both help or be harmful for Lula. This we will have to see, but people here are against the war. And finally, my message of hope for everyone. I am a economic historian, right? So my specialty is like reading old stuff. And the example I always like to think of when I think of something like what we are living now is the Haitian Revolution, which happened around the time, at the same time of the French Revolution. I don't know how many of you know about the Haitian Revolution, but in Haiti, the slaves were the ones who took control of the society. It wasn't like Brazil or the United States, where the descendants of the colonizers were the ones who ultimately took power. In Haiti, the slaves took power, and the slaves defeated. At the same time, the Spanish Armada and the Spanish Army, they defeated the England of the Industrial Revolution, right? Industrial Revolution starts at 1780, and they also defeated the army of Napoleon. They defeated the three most powerful armies of the time, and they did it in an island, and they did it without the best guns, some even without a gun. They did it nonetheless. So change is possible, and it's difficult, and we'll all have to make sacrifices one way or another. But things can change. So this is my message. Okay. Thanks for everyone. Thanks, Sibel.
That's what an amazing, what a powerful, wow. I didn't know. I am very uneducated and ignorant when it comes to that part of the world and the history, everything, politically, even like the domestic politics of South America, etc. I am so uneducated when it comes to that region, and I didn't know. And wow, I mean, kudos to you. I'm so thankful to you. Both of us are gonna get better with this as we do it. That's more reason to get motivated and do it more often, so we get more fluid. I want to thank all of you who joined here and patiently waited for some of these glitches and
Sibel,
yes.
if I may, the book where you can find this history is called The Black Jacobins, right? And the book is a lesson that the black slaves who liberated themselves teached the Jacobins of France, who were talking of liberty but wouldn't free their own slaves, right? So it's called The Black Jacobins, and the guy who wrote it, it's called C.L.R. James. Just that. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I am gonna get that book because these are the things that brings empowerment, and that's one of the things we really need. We the people, doesn't matter where we are, which country we are, and that goes back to what I said, and I'm gonna repeat that in our closing, and that is, I feel it. I believe a lot of you are feeling it as well. Wars are horrible, but at the same time, this is we are at the cusp of, we are at this turning point for the world, and it's going to depend on we the people which way these dominoes are going to fall, because right now it's for the first time standing up straight. We talked about that during our live session last Sunday at Patreon, but we can tilt it our way, and we cannot give in to pessimism, and we cannot ignore the people power and the people factor in all these things that we are witnessing today, with the war against Iran and with the shift of alliances, with everything that we are seeing, with every single one of those, unlike what they want to do, and that is what their algorithm of gods, the algorithm gods want to see. They just put the people out of the equation. Nobody's talking about the people. There are a couple of people saying, oh, well, Iranian people are resilient, and that's really important. And there's so much more to talk about on that. And just like the example that Lucas gave, it is the people power that can determine this. And therefore, we cannot let them put the people, the people, out of the equation, out of all these analysis, and to just poke, poke them in the eye. We are going to put our focus on the people factor. In my opinion, the most important factor. Love you all. Thank you all for joining us. And I hope to see all of you back. I will coordinate with Lucas and with you with some polls, because we do that on Patreon as well. Everything right now on Patreon is free. The membership is free. All you have to do is become a member of our Patreon, and you see my articles and our podcasts and our live sessions, etc. Hope to see you there as well. And let's count on getting together very soon, possibly as soon as this Saturday. Much love to all of you. Keep optimistic, and hold on to that people power that is innately in every single one of you. It's there. No matter how cynical we have become, no matter how many negatives we have seen, we cannot give up on that hope and the people power, and empower ourselves, each one of us individually and also collectively here as well. Have a great evening, and let's get together soon. Bye bye.